The American dream: to own your own home, purchase commercial real estate, or that Airbnb you always wanted. Owning and managing property has its benefits, but what happens when things go wrong or seem too unreal to be true? One man has seen it all. Lucas Thomas, CEO and founder of RHM Real Financial Planning, who stands ready to help you navigate the real and unreal parts of the real estate business.
So let's talk about crypto now. Crypto, Karl, what's your opinion on crypto?
I actually have one final thought about the stocks. I know I saw a video, but there's foreign stock exchanges. Obviously, they're not only just traded on R4X, but do you have any? I don't really know a whole lot about it other than it's just about as awful as ours. Like, I think wherever stocks get involved, there's just not a right or a wrong way to do it because people will just be looking for exploits, you know.
Oh, yeah, actually, if Garden Theory of Investment. So I sell a coaching program called the Garden Theory of Investment. So I'm not a get rich quick guy. I'm a guy who likes to, if anyone has ever gardened before, gardening is awful, right? You got pests, you got the sun, you water too little, you water too much, like, and then you kill the thing, and then you just feel so bad, and then you can't not kill things, right? So my entire investment philosophy is like gardening, right? And people all get confused by that, but I'm like, you need to garden, and then you'll understand the frustrations of trying to get wealthy. You need to find the right soil. You need to plant the right seed. You need to water it correctly. You got to nurture the thing. You got to love it. You got to love the thing, but then you have to have all this interest, right? And that's what I tell people all the time. It's like Warren Buffett used to say, if you don't understand it, don't invest in it. Same thing with me. Like if you don't understand how to garden, then you shouldn't be, building a business, or you shouldn't be doing this. Like, you need to understand the nuances of all the the ingredients of growing a plant. Um, and that's why I use a lot of gardening in my investment theory, because I buy a house, I fix the house up, I rent the house, I find, and that, you know what I mean? It's no different than a garden, right? What's your garden? Well, I like to garden Airbnbs. Great. I personally can't stand Airbnbs. They're not my style. Like, I do long-term rentals, right? And then I know some people, they'll do hard money. That's like that's their garden. They just garden people who want to grow their trees, which is just fix and flipping. You know what I mean? It's all just kind of growing your garden, and the customer base that you build in that garden is usually, you need to know the intricacies. And this goes into my niching. Like, the best way to make money in real estate or anything really is to find a niche and just work that niche, and don't really need to go outside that niche. The only reason you go outside a niche is if you've gotten so good at this niche and you want to add on to make even more money on another niche, or B, your original niche dies, and then you gotta, go. I mean, because that's a perfect gardening example, right? For example, I might be growing one of the, a cash crop, and next thing you know, that cash crop isn't popular anymore. It doesn't make no money. So now I have to grow something else. Um, but now that we got that out of the way, so there's actually three types of people in the stock market, or just the paper asset world. There's three types of people: informational edge, analytical edge, behavioral edge. There it is, guys. Yeah, because sometimes information edge and analytical edge will they're kind of they're kind of cousins. Anyway, the informational edge is, I have information. Like, I almost call this the insider trading edge, right? So technically, insider trading is illegal, but if for some reason, you think that good news is going to come out on a stock, right? For whatever reason, you just think, Apple's going to come out with some amazing product and it's going to change the world. And, like, you just, in your mind, hearts of hearts, you did a bunch of research and you just think they're going to, you know, send out into the world in the next, conference, that they're just going to do that, right? So that's the informational hedge, right? Because you basically you have knowledge because you've done incredible research on that company. You know the people and the insiders, you know the people, what they're doing. You just, you have mastered this company to a point where you just know when the good news is coming out and when the bad news is coming out, right? And the reason and what these guys base their so the informational edge is you just learn, a few industries and you just learn what makes those industries go up and down, right? A good example right now is oil, right? Well, guess what? Something blew up. Well, guess what? Oil went down. Well, guess what? It didn't blow up. Oh, oil went up. Oh no, oil, everything's gonna blow up again. Oh, oil went down. All right. Oh no, everything's fine again. Something was signed. Oh, oil goes back up. So I mean, the information is just having the knowledge of what's gonna happen before it happens. So the informational edge, and here's the thing: these are all very important for when we get the Calci and pulley market, right? So the informational edge is I have, insider knowledge. And the worst thing about pulley market and Calci is that, I can control the outcome, right? So for example, I can make a futures contract that says, Luke's going to say, like in this podcast, I could have put on there that says, Luke's going to say, you know, but, Luke says, but if Luke says, but on his podcast, then basically, someone has to pay someone else money. So if I say, but the problem is someone could just call me and say, hey, Luke, in your next podcast, just say, but 6 times and exactly 6, because I'm betting against the guy who says you're going to say it 7 times. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, I'm now, complicit with an insider trade on a pulley market or whatever have you, because I'm just sitting here going like, all right, well, I can just do but. Yeah, I mean, yeah, lovely. I probably just won someone a Calci bet. Yay. You know what? No. Screw that. But. Yeah, I very much doubt someone bet that many butts. And if they did, good on them.
Yeah. Let's ignore that phone call we had earlier where I told you to say 20 butts.
Yeah, right. No, but. See? Got you. Got you. Can't influence me, sir. But that's the informational edge, is where you're in that industry so heavily and you have so much knowledge of the industry, you just know what makes that industry go up and down, right? That's the information edge, where you're just in an industry so heavily, you just know what makes the stocks go up and down. The next one is going to be analytical. The analytical people, they don't care about anything, right? These are the guys that stare at charts all day and they go, well, based off this cross angel death T, that the little, then they go, well, it has to go up because statistically in the past, whenever it makes it shoots up and then it shoots down, it shoots all around. Yeah, those are the analytical guys. Like, they don't care what the underlying assets are. They don't care what the underlying industry is. All they do is stare at those analyticals. But these are also the high-speed traders too. So these are the guys that go, well, if a certain stock goes down a certain amount, they'll high speed trade it and say, okay, they'll buy it. And then as soon as it shoots back up, they'll sell it. So there's literally an entire company. Its only business is they'll literally just make cents on the dollars just by making money off those floats. Right. And they basically, like, if it hits a certain number, they'll buy it and they'll do it. But because the high speed trading is so quick, it basically, they'll make money no matter what, because of just how it's just like flash money, $1. But they do it so often, and that's why I think a lot of the stock markets are getting nutty, is because there's no fundamentals anymore. The analytical edge is beating out the information edge, right? So basically, the analytical guys are going, well, I don't care what the underlying value is. All I know is if it goes here, I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to make, and that's what makes it nutty. And that's the guys who buy the dip, right? The analytical dudes buy the dip. I mean, they all buy the dip for different reasons. The informational guys buy the dip because they think the value is undervalue. The high speed traders and the analytical guys, they buy the dip because that's just what they do. You know what I mean? They'll buy any dip. They'll buy anything. They'll buy anything if it dips long enough. I mean, that's what happened with the meme stocks, with GameStop and everything else. I mean, there was no fundamentals in that. It was literally analytical guys that are like, well, if we can do this, and then the retail traders got in and piled on, and then a lot of people lost a lot of money, people made a lot of money. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, but like I said, there's the analytical guys. They basically don't care about, they don't need to know any information. They just need to see the history of the stock, and then and they can basically try to predict the future of that stock based on how the little ticker moves every day. And those people are pretty nutty. They call those the quants. Those are the guys that just high speed trade. But like I said, they're not researching companies, right? They're just researching, what's that stock going to do? You know what I mean? And based off, the algorithm that we can create, right? And then the last one's going to be a guy like me. I'm a behavioral edge, right? So I just like to make fun of dumb money, right? So I don't have to do any work. I just bet against dumb money, right? So for me, it's like, if I think dumb money is going to get in on something, right, then I'm going to get in on it first, right? And I'll give you an example. So the informational edge guy, I'll give you an example. Let's just take GameStop, for example. So GameStop shot up in value for no particular reason because it got swarmed by retail investors, right? So oh, give me a second. Yeah, so for example, if I was an information guy, I would short the stock, right? Because GameStop's not doing well. There's not really an upside to it. It's a dying business, right? I mean, what is GameStop going to do that's going to change their trajectory? If I'm an informational guy, I know the company back and forth, therefore I'm going to short the stock. If I'm an analytical guy, right, and I see that, there's been a history of these things going up in value or going around, I mean, hell, the analytical guy might not even know that the stock's going to shoot up. It might just start shooting up, and then the analytical guy sees it shooting up, and he's just playing the wave, right? He doesn't care about GameStop, right? He knows nothing about GameStop. All he knows is it's on a roll, right? And he's going to roll it, and it's on a wave, right? So the analytical guy will basically buy the moment he sees the wave, right? And then he'll sell it or he'll dump it before the wave crescents and falls, right? Because that's what the analytical dudes do. So for me, I'll just see that there's a bunch of dumb people dumping a bunch of dumb money into a dumb stock, and I'll just be like, oh, dude, I'm just going to buy it and sell it, right? I buy it at the beginning, I'm going to sell it at the end, right? So I didn't need a stock ticker to tell me that, so we all came to similar conclusions except for the information guys. They're the ones that the smart people who did all the research ended up getting hit, right? So it's because the analytical dudes and the behavioral dudes, we don't care about the stock. All we know is, like, I'm betting on human nature, and the analytical people are just betting on analytics, an algorithm in analytics, right? So me and him both are buying the wave, and the stock is meaningless to us, right? Where I'm betting against dumb people, and the analytical people are just seeing the wave as it's getting created. And then that's pretty much your three people. So it's funny to me that the information guy, the guy who had all the information, ended up being the dumb one, because it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It does not make sense for that stock to go up and do those things. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much, if you look at the stock market and those tickers, you can literally see those three people fighting almost every day, because that's basically who's losing money and gaining money. It's those three edges, or those three types of investors, and they're all investing against each other. And that's pretty much the stock market in a nutshell. Is you have those three types of people. You got the analytical people that are getting the waves before they start. You got the behavioral guys like me who are like, oh, cool, there's a bunch of dumb people dumping into that. I should dump into that, and then I'm going to get out while the getting's good, And then, like I said, you got the information guys who think they got it all figured out, and then they get wiped out. So, but yeah, that's pretty much, but that's the thing. I like telling people those three styles of investors, because those three types of people are pretty much, they exist in all investment groups, right? In real estate or businesses, or what have you. It's always those three dudes, right? It's either you have a guy who thinks he's got it all figured out with all the information. You got a guy who's just like, I'm just my algorithm and my statistics tell me what we're riding a wave, and I'm just going to sell it whenever the algorithm or when the wave, I think the wave's going to crescent and go down. And then you guys got guys like me who's just like, dude, I know a dumb person. I know a sucker when I see one. And there you go. So that's pretty much the three people in the investment world, specifically in the stock market. And that's kind of why people who, that's why the professionals are getting wiped out, because, the guys with all the information think they're so damn smart. And that's why they're getting wiped out, because, the stock market doesn't use reason, it uses analytics, people riding the wave, and then people like me who are basically, betting against suckers on that same wave. So, and that's kind of why the stock market's gotten so crazy. Now, moving on, crypto, Karl, tell me all about crypto.
To the moon.
The moon. Do you have any
I
crypto?
still have Doge, and that's it.
Why do you have Doge?
Because it's a cool meme coin, and I just want to have a piece of it now to remember my silly decisions in the past. But I got diamond hands, so one day it'll blow up. When maybe Elon Musk actually goes to the moon, it might make a comeback. So,
Dude, I hope what they do is he buys up all the Dogecoin, somehow converts Dogecoin into fuel, and actually, gets that Dogecoin fuel into the tank and burns it all up. And all the people who burn up are trillionaires because of his ability to convert Dogecoin into fuel. That's what I'm hoping.
nice.
Anyway, we already know that the stock market's my punching bag, and the crypto market is literally the 1920s before the SEC took over market. You know what I mean? It's literally pre-SEC stock market. And that's why I like to tell the one story to tell this story. Crypto's dumb. But that's fine. But me as a behavioral investor, I'm just making money off dumb people. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, I'm not here because I believe in crypto. I'm here because I think dumb people believe in it. And who knows when those dumb people will figure out that it's dumb. They might never figure it out. But you know what? They made me a multimillionaire while they did dumb things. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with me. I mean, crypto is the same thing. It's like, do I want to own Dogecoin? No, but if I think a bunch of dumb people are going to buy Dogecoin because they think it has value, well, obviously I should own Dogecoin. Right? Same thing with Bitcoin, same thing with all those coins. It's like, I'm not here. I'm here because I think dumb people are going to buy this thing. Right? And that's why I'm here. And the analytical guy, he's here because, same thing. He's just like, oh, dude, the wave is starting, crescent the wave, follow the wave. And then your information guys, I mean, those are the true believers. Those are the ones that are like, oh man, but the thing is, they're half true believers, but then they're also half good news, bad news, right? So, oh no, Bitcoin is being regulated, goes down. Oh no, Bitcoin's not being regulated, goes up. So, I mean, those are the guys that make all the money on the ups and downs, like the day trading, the day ups and downs, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, but the long story short is I'm not a huge fan of crypto. You can't use it for anything, right? I mean, people keep using case examples of it working, and it's usually like a one-off, and everyone hates that they're using it because they got to build these whole systems around them using it. And then it's like, hey, I'm going to buy this house, and next day they can't buy the house because the Bitcoin is worth 90,000 a coin, and then the very next day it's worth 60,000 a coin, and now now you don't have enough crypto. Well, great. I'm so excited that, your coin lost 30% of its value within X amount of time. That's exciting. And then they had to create a whole it's funny because the whole point of crypto is to get rid of fiat, pegged fiat money. And then the crypto industry is like, hey, we need to create a stable coin. And we're going to peg it to the US dollar. Which is the exact opposite of what I was supposed to do. Anyway, as a hardcore crypto enthusiast, this is fine. crypto's so useless. We had to create we had to create a US dollar. We had to create a pegged US dollar version to maintain some sort of stability so we can actually use it for things. And yeah, and that's yep, you're right. That's going to replace the US dollar. Yep, the thing that is so unstable, it has to be pegged. We had to create a separate coin that is then pegged to the US dollar. Yep, yep. So I'm so excited. So if you just use some, some math, right? So how am I supposed to take a, a unstable coin and ever replace it with the US dollar? Like, well, eventually they can have the stable coins replace the US dollar. But what the hell is going to back the US? What's the hell is going to back this stable coin? You know what I mean? And then they go blah 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 blah, and then they just scream and yell, and I just don't understand what they're saying anymore. Diamond hands to the moon. Woo! Anyway, I'm done bashing crypto. And it's funny to me, like the cycle on crypto, and we talked a little bit about this in the last episode, where the tech cycles are getting crazy. There's the metaverse that was supposed to be like, I'm supposed to live in a pod. You're supposed to, Karl, where's your pod at, bro? We're not even supposed to be living in the real world. We gotta live in pods. Artificial virtual reality, bro, because the world sucks. I've got to wake up and coffee's not cocaine. I get, and that's the problem. Coffee is not cocaine.
Yep.
Anyway, tech cycles. And then we had the crypto cycle, and I'm so glad the crypto cycle is finally done, which is crazy to me because, like, the funny thing about crypto is that they don't realize that everyone forgot about them, because, like, they're still, like, hard charging forward, and it's like everyone forgot about crypto, and they still act like they're an industry. I think that's my favorite part. And it's just like, dude, what's all this money in this industry? But what do I know? But we're moving on. So there's your crypto. So your crypto, basically, tell me the investment on crypto, right? Technically, crypto is a speculation, not an investment. Karl, now that I've talked too much, what's your opinion on crypto?
That's a good question. I think it's all just equally as made up as the stock market.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's unregulated stock market pre-sec, right? Essentially, what is it? And it's funny to me. I think my favorite part about crypto is they actually have terms for when people steal all your money. I think that's my favorite part about it, is like having all your money stolen is so common to the point they actually have a term for it, and it's called a rug pull. And it just makes me so happy when an industry has so much fraud and theft and bad things that happen. That is great to me, that they have this industry is so broken to the point where they even have nicknames for when someone steals all your money. Isn't that exciting? And the best part is, because crypto is semi-anonymous, because it's not completely anonymous, the FBI and the US government are probably one of the highest holders of crypto, because they've been taking it away from drug dealers over the last 20 or 30 years. So the US government's actually one of the actually holds quite a large amount of wallets, because they've been taking it away. So but it's just funny to me that rug pulls, and that's semi-autonomous. And it's like half the time when someone rug pulls you, you don't even, like, you can't even figure out who it was. You know what I mean? And there's all these secret sauce ways to do rug pulls, and then it just goes to show, what is this thing even for? Right? It's unsecure. It's just rife with theft and fraud and thieving, and it's like, and I can't even buy a frickin' hamburger with it.
Yep.
What's it do, Karl?
You gotta have a crypto credit card.
Yeah, I had one of those, and it was garbage. I hated it. It was like, actually, it's funny. It actually got hacked, and I had to shut it off. Yeah, yeah. I had a crypto debit card, a crypto credit card, and they both were hacked, and I had to shut them down. And I'm like, wow, And that's the problem with it, is because the money's basically cash. You have these actors who basically are actively stealing, you know. It's one thing to see, because that's the thing, trying to steal money out of a bank account, you have to do all these social engineering things, right? I got to convince the people to give it to me. With some of these crypto stuff, it's like the security's so low that you can basically just go right into the bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, there's I can't even remember who it was. I think it's Ethereum. I think it was them. They actually got, not only were they hacked, they actually were hacked and they had to make a fork. And they had the fork. And if no one here knows what a fork is when a Bitcoin becomes so traumatized that one group of people say, well, we're using original Ethereum because we don't believe, like, we believe that Ethereum is God. So if someone hacks a whale and steals all his money, well, we think that's right. So, and then the other fork was the people that are like, no, this whale deserves all his money. So they gave him all his money back. And that just goes back to my, what are you idiots doing? Like, you literally are just like, yeah, that hacker wins. Okay. Like, how dare you take that hacker's hard earned money? Okay. Like, you idiots with your I'm so goddamn smart and it's the better way. This is like me. It's like getting mad when you get robbed for having, like all that money under your bed. You know what I mean? Like, you deserve it, you know? That's what you get, having all that money under that bed and then someone finding out it's there, and then they're like, no, no, we're just gonna fork it and give that way all his money back, and you're just like, great, absolutely great.